thanks for joining me. I'm Cheryl and this is Yoga for You. Many people suffer from upper back and shoulder and neck issues, and they don't have the mobility that they should. So with yoga and yoga therapy and the movements that we're going to do today, we can increase the circulation, the blood flow, and the energy to the upper torso. So this will help to increase the mobility and decrease the pain in your upper body. We're going to start with movements to the spine, because the spine supports the shoulders. The shoulders are meant to hang on the spine. So the spine is your support and the shoulder girdle hangs. So if you're living like this, stressed and lifting your shoulders up around your ears, you're shortening all the muscles around this area. So we learn to hang and let the shoulders relax. In today's class, we will need a chair and a rolled up towel or blanket, which we'll use further on in the class. So if you want to take a moment or two to collect these items, just a kitchen chair and a towel or a blanket. Let's take a few moments to settle in. Let's sit on our sit bones. So if we rock a bit from side to side, we find those bones in our pelvis. We want to sit on them equally. This allows the spine to be nice and tall. Relax our shoulders and close your eyes. We're going to breathe through the nostrils. Bring your mind and awareness to that space below the nostrils, above the upper lip, where you witness and observe the breath as it falls into the nostrils and falls out of the nostrils. If you like, you can place one hand on the belly, and as you inhale, the belly rises with air, and as you exhale, the belly empties. And the mind will probably wander, and the moment you notice your mind has wandered, bring it back to the nostrils, back to the breath, back to where you are right now, here, in this moment. So just see what happens. Does your mind constantly wander, or are you able to stay focused on the breath? Keep bringing your mind back to the nostrils, back to the breath. Follow the breath in and follow the breath out. Think of yourself as a witness or an observer. Follow the breath in, notice the pause or the gap, and follow the breath out, noticing the pause or the gap. And notice what it feels like when the mind does wander, when it goes elsewhere. So your mind is not here anymore. And then notice how different it feels when you bring your mind back to the breath, to the present moment. And notice how that feels. How does it feel to be in this moment? So we want to keep bringing the mind back to the breath, to connect the mind to the body. To be grounded, to be present, to be in our bodies. Keep coming back to the breath. So we'll start in our seated posture, and the spine has 5 movements. One of the first movements is when you round your back and keep your hands on your knees, now your spine is in this concave position. The back of the spine is opening up, and the front of the spine is closing. And when we do the opposite, we move forward, then now the front of the spine is opened and the back of the spine is closing. So these are two opposite positions that we can move in and out of to warm up the spinal vertebrae. So we can do this with our pelvis. We can go into a dog tilt and then a cat tilt. Sending the pelvis back in a dog tilt. Your spine lifts up, your spine goes into this concave position, and then we tuck the tailbone under, and the spine goes into this. Actually, this is the concave position, and this is the convex position. You make the movement with your pelvis, cat tilt, the spine is rounded, and dog tilt, the spine is rounded in the opposite direction, rounded this way, and now the opposite. I'll just turn sideways for a moment to show you. This is the dog tilt and the cat tilt. Dog tilt and the cat tilt. See how that feels? Keep your hands on your knees. Inhale as you go into the dog tilt. Exhale into the cat tilt. The front of your spine is opening up. And now the back of your spine is opening up. A couple more times. Inhale and exhale. One more time. Inhale through the nostrils and exhale through the nostrils. And then we come back to our seated posture. Let's take a moment to close your eyes and feel what's going on in your back. So that position opened up the vertebrae like in the front and then in the back. So the next movement will open up the sides of the spine. We'll take the left hand beside us to the floor, the right arm alongside the right ear, and if we slide the left hand along the floor, we'll reach up with the right arm and feel a stretch on the right side of the body. So now the right side of the spine is receiving the opening, and the right side of the vertebrae are opening up, creating space in the spine on the right side. Inhale as you come up and exhale down. Left arm, shoulder blade is down the back, it's not reaching up. Slide the right hand along the floor and keep both sit bones on your mat. I'm on a cushion right now. You could be on a cushion if that helps. Your arm is straight, reaching up to the ceiling, and now the left side of my spine is opening up. The right side is not. There are over 100 joints in the spine, so we need to keep those flexible. Inhaling up and down. One more time, inhale up, exhale. You can stay here and breathe and keep both arms straight, reaching up with the lifted arm, keeping both sit bones on the floor. Inhale up and exhale down. And in these videos, you can choose to do more of the stretches or less, depending on how you feel. And keep coming back to your breath. And just a reminder that while you're practicing yoga, if something doesn't feel right, or after you've finished doing the posture, if it doesn't feel, something doesn't feel right in your body, then do less or don't do that movement. I don't know what you're feeling, and you know your body better than anyone. So be mindful of what you're doing, and we really shouldn't have a lot of pain when we're doing yoga. Thank you. Now our next movement for the spine is a twist. So we're going to be keeping our spine vertical and turning to one side, keeping the shoulder blades down, and your spine is twisting all the way from the bottom to the top of the spine. We inhale as we come up, and we exhale as we turn to the other side. Shoulder blades are down. Inhale back to the center, and exhale, turning. And in these twists, you can stay here for a little bit longer, or you can make them very short. It's up to you. Again, be mindful and feel what's happening while you're doing the yoga and when you're finished. So you can do these several times or not, it's up to you. And then coming back to the center. We'll start to roll our shoulders forward and up, and back and down. Forward and up, and back and down. We'll add the breathing. We'll inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. This brings circulation and blood flow into the neck and shoulders. So if you have chronic neck pain, this would be a very gentle movement to start with. So if there's any pain or discomfort, then you make those movements smaller, or you don't make them at all. Forward and up, and back and down. Forward and up, and back and down. So you can do this for 10, 20 times, and then you can rest for a few moments, continue for another 10 or 20 times. Let's see how it makes you feel. Okay, and then when you're finished, you relax, close your eyes, and feel. Feel the warmth or the energy in your neck and shoulders. Bring your mind back to your breath. And we'll open the eyes again. We'll take the right arm across the body and place the left hand just on the upper arm. So don't twist your body this time. We're going to still face forward and feel a stretch across your back. Your shoulder blades are being pulled. We'll go to the other side. Just notice if one side's different from the other. And you do that several times on each side, noticing how the shoulder blade feels on the side that you're stretching, and then notice how the other side feels. You can learn a lot about your body by paying attention to how you feel while you're doing the yoga. Okay, and then we'll let that go and take a moment to feel, to connect with the breath. Now we'll take the right arm and reach it alongside the right ear. Palm is face back, and we'll bend the elbow, and the fingers are pointing down towards the floor. You can take the left hand and reach to the elbow. Just try to nudge that elbow behind your head, focusing on the breath. Feel the stretch down the arm. Sitting up nice and tall, make sure your head is level, that you're not looking down at the floor or lifting your head too high. And just stay there for as long as you're comfortable. And release. Feel for a few moments. And then take the left arm, palm face back, Bend the elbow, fingers pointing down towards the floor. We'll take the right hand, hold on to the left elbow and try to help nudge it behind your head. Sitting up nice and tall, finding your breath, leveling your head, and try to notice if one side was easier or had more mobility. Which side feels better? Which side has more stiffness? Be aware of your breath. Notice how that feels. So you could do this one several times if this is one that you need. If you feel that your arms are very, very tight and you're having difficulty going into this stretch. That means you've got some tight muscles in the arms or into the torso. And doing these new movements will help loosen up those muscles and allow you more mobility with your shoulders and your shoulder blades. And that in turn will help your neck pain. And release. Close your eyes for a moment, find your breath, and notice how that feels. We're going to move on to our chairs now. So now we're seated in our chairs and we're forward onto our chairs so that our feet can be nice and solid on the floor. This is our beautiful dog Frankie. She's an Australian cattle dog. And I can't move her. Okay, from this position, we're going to work on some of the muscles that surround the rib cage. When these muscles tighten, they can pull on your shoulders and on your upper chest and upper back and cause your neck to be sore as well and cause your shoulders to lose some mobility. So first let's find our rib cage. We put our hands on the ribs, the side ribs, and just see what it's like to move the rib cage from left to right without really moving your rest of the body too much. So see if you can isolate your rib cage and see if you've got some movement laterally to the left, center, to the right, center, to the left. Just see if you have this movement. We're going to try to increase this movement a bit. So first we take a little note of how we are and how much mobility we have to begin with. Which side has more mobility? Is there any pain anywhere or any other part of the body talking to you? And then we come back to the center. Take a moment to notice any sensations. So we have that imaginary string pulling us up from the top of the head. We have our shoulders relaxed. We find our breath. We're going to bring our hands behind our head. So we could have our fingers interlaced or not. Sometimes I just have my fingers like this. And the elbows out to the sides as much as you can. So take your elbows back rather than letting them come forward. And then in this position, see what kind of a movement you can get by tipping over to the side. Inhale, back to the center, that imaginary string pulling you up from the top of the head. Exhale, tipping over to the other side. Try to keep that lifted elbow back instead of coming forward. You'll feel some stretching if you're tight. Inhale up. Another thing to notice is that your two sit bones are staying on the chair. You're not tipping off. So try to have a good solid seat on your two sit bones. That imaginary string lengthening out through the top of the head so that you create a nice lengthened spine. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale as you come up and exhale as you go to the side. Take that elbow back. It wants to come forward, but keep moving that lifted elbow back and back to the center. and release. Close your eyes for a moment, finding your breath. Notice what you feel. Now let's see what kind of movement we get with our rib cage when we lean forward a little bit. So I've taken my legs a little wider, resting my forearms on my thighs, and just going to slide my rib cage over to the left, back to the center, and over to the right, and back to the center, and to the left. Doing this with your rib cage and not with your shoulders. So you're not doing this. There's no twisting right now. It's a lateral side movement from side to side. So you can get an idea of what's involved when you start to move your rib cage. You can start to feel your lower back muscles, that they're connected, or maybe your side muscles. Everybody's different. And come back to the center. From here, we'll bring our feet a little bit closer together, and we're going to rest the left forearm on the left leg. We're going to take the right hand behind the right hand behind the head, and the elbow stays back. This movement is an inhalation, and you turn to the right. You imagine your spine turning in place. So it's like twisting to the right. And then as you come down and bring your right elbow towards your left knee, your spine is turning to the left. So it's inhale, open up, your spine is turning to the right. Take that elbow back, try not to collapse in your spine. Exhale, you're turning your spine to the left. Don't lead with the elbow. Focus on your spine turning. And inhale, come back up. So we want to get a sense of our spine being nice and tall, like a stick. And it's turning from one side, from one direction to the other direction. So let's do that a couple more times on the same side. Let's try the hand on the leg. That might be easier. So the opening movement and the closing movement. Inhale, the spine rotates to the right. Exhale, the spine rotates to the left. It's not really an up and down movement. It's more of a turning of the spine. You could lift up a little higher when you open up, and exhale, you could come down just a little bit, but not a lot. Last time, inhale, opening up, and exhale, rotating and turning to the left, and inhale back to the center. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a moment to notice how things are feeling. Connect to your breath. And then we'll do the other side. So you could try this with your right arm resting on the leg, your left hand behind your head. Inhale is an opening up, the turning of the spine to the left. Exhale, the spine starts to turn to the right, rotates to the right. Inhale, opening up. For those of you with tight muscles around your rib cage, your intercostal muscles and your lower back muscles, this will be a great movement for those tight muscles. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, rotate to the right. Inhale, the spine rotates to the left. And exhale, the spine rotates to the right. So you could try it. Maybe you prefer with your hand on the leg instead of your forearm. Both ways are fine. Don't make the mistake of dropping that elbow. Want to keep the elbow back. You can visualize the movement coming from the spine. The spine is leading. Inhale, opening up. And exhale, rotating. Get a sense of your spine being like a stick, rotating to the left and rotating to the right. And coming back to the center, bring your hands to your legs, close your eyes for a moment, relax your shoulders, find your breath, follow your breath in and follow your breath out. And then we'll open our eyes and we'll get ready to go down onto the floor. So we'll get rid of our chairs and lay onto our mats on our backs. Thank you. Now we're going to be going down onto our backs, and we're going to use a rolled up blanket or towel to go under our shoulder blades. You don't need a very thick roller at all, so you'll be able to tell if it's too much for you, if it's uncomfortable. So I don't use the whole blanket because it would be too bulky. So we're going to lay the blanket on the mat or the towel. It's just a little roller, and I'm going to have my block handy in case you want that under your head. So we're going to try to get our shoulder blades just in the area just below our armpits. We're going to put the shoulder blade on the blanket, and so if some of you have your heads hanging like this, you will put the block under your head to have a better position for your head. Some of you might be able to be here without the block as well. Okay. So a nice spinal stretch. In this position, you straighten your legs and flex your feet and take the arms up towards the ceiling and then reach them back, palms facing each other. Keep them off the floor and keep your feet flexed. And now you're stretching yourself in two, out through the feet and out through the fingertips. I hope you can see my feet and my fingertips. So you can stay here as long as you like, and remember that your shoulder blades your shoulders are always wide. You're never scrunching your arms alongside your ears. So imagine your shoulders moving away from the ears. So whenever you need to, you can bring the arms back down for a rest. Notice how that feels. So we inhale and take the arms up and palms facing forward, feet are flexed. And as you inhale and exhale, you reach the arms and legs away from each other. This is a spinal stretch. And bring the arms down. Bend your knees. Now we're going to do the same type of stretch on our side. So as we roll over onto our side, we make sure that the roller stays under our shoulder blades and doesn't come down under our ribs. So you could do this with straight legs or with bent knees. I'll show you both ways. If you can, the arm is up beyond your head, because when you stretch the arm up to the ceiling and reach it alongside the ear, you could take this hand and pull the arm in the direction that it's pointing. Now you might find that this is difficult to balance, so that's why you could bend your knees as well. So we're focusing on this side stretch down the side of the body. We're stretching the muscles along the side body and the spine. So try it with your legs straight, try it with your knees bent. So you could do this a few times. You could move in and out of the stretch, or you could stay and have a long stretch. That's up to you again. Good. And then we do the other side as well. You could just turn around, or I'll move that up there. The the roller is almost under your armpit, just a little bit below your armpit. So you're feeling the ribs on your roller. And we take the left arm up, reach it alongside our ear, and use the lower hand to pull the arm. Now if you find that this is too difficult, you could try taking the arm forward. So let's say you can only take your arm up this high, or maybe this high, then you stay here. And in time, your arm will be able to go all the way through all the yoga and yoga therapy that you do. So don't force anything. If you have issues with your shoulders, just stop when there's any pain. Find your edge where you can go with that movement, and don't push or muscle your way through. Nice side stretch to the body and to the spine. And now push ourselves up, and we'll continue with the roller. And so we'll go onto the floor and we'll put our shoulder blades on the roller. And we'll adjust our head, maybe put a block under if you're jutting your chin up to the ceiling, or if you can bring your head, your chin in line with your forehead without a block, that's good too. So just make sure the roller is not down under the lower ribs. You want the roller to be underneath your shoulder blades. And then your lower back is on the floor. Your knees are bent, your feet are flat on the floor. And we're going to interlace our hands and place them behind our head, and the elbows are out to the sides. Now when we lift our head, we're going to relax the head, and we're going to use the strength of our arms to bring our head up. So try not to use your neck muscles. Let your head and neck relax. So we inhale here. As we exhale, the head is passive, and we lift the head up with our hands and our arms up towards the knees. We bring the elbows towards each other, and we bring the head towards the knees. So there's quite a stretch down your back. And then as we lower the head back and the elbows open up, if you have a block under your head, you'll need to take that away, because you want to get this wonderful arch in your back. That is the therapy, the opening of the upper back. We inhale here, exhale, support the head, bringing it up towards the knees, bring the elbows towards each other, coming forward, and then supporting the head as we go back. So we'll instruct the breathing this time. We inhale, exhale, coming up, and inhale slowly, supporting the head, the elbows open up, and there's a wonderful opening in the upper spine. One more time. Inhale here, exhale, supporting the head, bringing the elbows towards each other and towards the knees, and supporting ourselves. You can release your arms for a moment, just take a rest. Notice how everything feels. Find your breath. And then we'll go on to the next movement, interlacing the hands behind the head, elbows out to the sides. Inhale here, exhale, cradle the head as you lift it up, bringing the elbows towards the knees and towards each other. And now we're going to lift the pelvis up towards the ceiling. So there's quite a bit of pressure of the shoulder blades on the roller. And then we lower everything, the pelvis and the head and the arms at the same time. So we inhale here, exhale, cradle the head up, bring the elbows forward, press the feet into the floor, and lift the pelvis off the floor. and then lowering your pelvis, your elbows, and your head back to the floor. So we'll add to this movement. We'll inhale here, exhale, cradle and support the head as you lift it up. Bring the elbows towards each other and lift the pelvis off the floor. Now from this position, we use our feet and we push the feet away from the floor, or we could say you push the feet into the floor. So I'm just using my feet to push my body up and down the mat. So it's not this kind of movement, this opening and closing. You keep your pelvis lifted and your spine and body is moving up and down the mat, not up and down vertically, but horizontally. So you get this wonderful stretch, or I should say a wonderful massage in your shoulder blades, finding your breath. So once you have this movement figured out, you can lean over to the side a little bit. Notice I've put my pelvis on the floor, and you can continue getting a massage in a different area of your shoulder blade. So I just turned a tiny little bit to the side, and I'm using my feet and pushing the floor away with my feet. So if you find that's too difficult, just stay with your pelvis lifted and feel this wonderful massage. And once you feel comfortable enough to try something different, you just roll over onto the side a little bit, and now the pelvis is on the floor and you're pushing your feet into the floor to get this up and down movement, up and down your mat. That can really target some areas of your shoulder blades that need a massage. And then everything lowers down and you can have a rest, you can extend your legs. Even staying in this position is beneficial, just to have the roller under your back and open up your chest. Especially if you work on computers or if you have that tendency to slouch. Okay, now we're going to go onto our side with the roller under our shoulder blades again. Well, we'll be under our ribs, the same level as it was before under our shoulder blades. So the knees are bent up to the level of our hips. The spine is nice and straight. We don't want to roll forward or roll back. So we look for our hips to be in alignment with each other and our shoulders to be in alignment with each other. And we can use a block for our head. So this is where we start, and this is a wonderful therapy for the shoulders. I use this quite often at home. So the first movement is to take the arm up and then extend it beyond the head, all in a straight line. Inhale up and exhale down. But some people find that their arms get tight around here and that they need to bring the arm forward. I'd rather you not do that. I'd rather you keep the arm in alignment with the side of your body and just see how far you can take the arm. This is your edge. And in time, your arm will go down to the floor. So just see what happens. No pain, just stretching. Keep the arm straight, maybe 4 or 5 times, and then rest it. Notice how it feels. The second step is to bring the hands together and to keep both arms straight. And we're going to be moving the top arm and hand. So we slide that top hand and arm past the lower hand. And then keeping the upper arm straight, we slide that hand up onto the forearm of that lower arm. So notice how I'm keeping both arms straight. Feel quite a stretch in the upper shoulder. And then I'm actually rolling my ribs on that roller. So be aware of that. A lot of yoga students tend to bend their elbow. You don't feel anything when you bend the elbow. So keep the arms straight and you're rolling. on the roller. Again, getting a massage on your ribs. And when you slide the hand forward, there's quite a stretch up in this area. So again, about 4 or 5 times. And you can finish up by bringing the palms together. The next step, we inhale, open the arm up to the ceiling, and then take the arm and the shoulder, and notice how the torso is turning to bring the arm and shoulder close towards the floor. Inhale up and exhale down. So we inhale up. Don't let the arm go by itself. This is incorrect. The entire body moves with the arm. And we try to keep the legs together. You don't want the knees to open up. But some people can't open up their arm to the floor. So again, if you find that this is as far as you can go, then that's your therapy. This is where you stop. And in time, those muscles will loosen up and you'll be able to bring the arm to the floor. You can always try this without the roller. If the roller's too much to have under your rib cage, you can take it out. You can use a very flat roller. So adjusting to your needs. This is a very good stretch for the shoulders, for the upper body. Just make sure your head is supported by the floor or a block. And then you rest afterwards. And the last movement is called the windmill. We slide the top hand just past the lower hand, putting the fingertips on the floor and having a soft hand and soft wrist. And we try to keep the hands on the floor, but if you're really tight in the shoulders, they will come off the floor. We move the hand in the direction above the head. And again, the entire body. Notice how I'm on my back now as the hand creates this big circle, entire 360-degree circle, trying to keep the fingertips on the floor, but with tight shoulders, your hand and arm might lift up quite high. So some of you will be doing this movement with the hand off the floor. So let yourself roll onto your back. And some of you will be able to keep the fingertips on the floor. So just relax your hand and your arm will rotate in the position it needs to in order to complete that circle. And you make these very slow movements. You don't want to do this quickly at all. You want to be aware of what's happening in your body. And if you find that there's an area that's really tight, you could stop and hang out there and breathe and relax and allow that area to stretch. You can move another inch or two in the circle and test out different areas of that movement. Just relax and let the weight of your arm create the stretch. And if you're not sure which direction to go, remember it's up in the direction above your head. And hopefully you'll notice that it starts to get easier the more you do this. So let that rest. And then we'll get ready to go on to the other side. I'm showing you the view from the other side, so it might help you to understand the therapy. So the first movement again was just to be aware that the shoulders are in alignment, the hips are in alignment, and the top of your head is in line with your pelvis. We raise the top arm up and take it in the direction behind the head. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. So 4 or 5 times, nice and slow, noticing if one side is different from the other. and resting the arm when you're finished. The next movement you might not be able to see, but it's the one where I'm sliding that top hand past the lower arm and hand. Feeling the stretch in my upper shoulder and rolling my ribs on the roller that's on the floor. Keeping that upper arm straight as you slide it past the lower hand and then up onto the forearm of the lower arm. Again, 4 or 5 times, and then rest the hands together. Now, my roller is slid down a little bit too low on my body, so I'm going to readjust myself. So now the next movement, you start with your hands together, both arms straight. You inhale, taking the arm up to the ceiling, and exhale, taking the arm towards the floor. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale. Very slow. Keeping the knees together. You can stay here in this position, relaxing, breathing, and then resting the hands together. The last position, the windmill, you slide the top fingers just past the lower hand onto the floor. Soft hand, soft wrist. Keeping the fingers on the floor, or trying to, you create that circle, 360-degree circle. Taking the fingers past the lower hand in the direction beyond your head, rolling on to your back. You can inhale as you take the arm up and exhale as you bring it back down towards the hips. Again, if your hand needs to stay off the floor, that's fine. In time, you'll stretch those muscles and your fingers will touch the floor. And again, you can stay somewhere, like if you feel that this is a tight place, you can stay here and relax. Just let the weight of your arm create the stretch. Breathing. And then resting. And then come onto your back again and slide the bolster or the blanket out from under you. And have your knees bent. And take a moment to relax and feel your shoulders. We'll bring the knees up to the chest, hugging the knees to the chest. Roll a little bit from side to side. Come back to the center. We'll bring the feet to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together. Let the knees open up. The arms down by your sides. Palms face up. Slide the right foot down the mat and the left foot down the mat. And close your eyes for Shavasana, the relaxation pose. Bring your mind and awareness to that space below the nostrils, above the upper lip, where you witness and observe the breath as it falls into the nostrils and falls out of the nostrils. Relax your shoulders, your arms, your face. Relax your legs and your feet. And the moment you notice your mind has wandered, bring it back. Bring your mind back to the nostrils, back to the breath. Back to where you are right now, here, in this moment. Now you can stay here in Shavasana for as long as you like. When you're ready to come out, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Very, very gently roll your head from side to side. Inhale, slide the arms up over your head, legs together. Inhale, nice big stretch. Exhale up through the open mouth. One more. Exhale. Bend the knees. Bring the knees to the chest. Roll from side to side. Eventually roll over onto the right side into the fetal position and push yourself up. Back to a seated position for a few moments. Find your sit bones and lengthen your spine. An imaginary string pulling you up from the top of your head. Bring your awareness to the shoulders, relax the shoulders and feel them. We'll bring the hands to the heart center in the prayer position. Lower the head towards the hands and towards the heart. And send out a thank you to the universe for having had time to look after yourself today. Namaste.